Hello YouTube, it's DasGregor, and welcome back to the third video for SolydK. Now, some of you who are watching this for the first time may not realize, but my first video for SolydK was atrocious. The sound had so much fragmentation, the video was screwed up. It played fine on my machine despite the sound issues, but it was so rotten that after about the fourth or fifth comment of, "Oh, wow, Das, this is horrible," with the sound, I deleted it, got rid of it, and I did a first impressions second take, tweaking the sound as best I could and getting it to work. And it still sounded like crap. I also felt like I was rushing through it, and this is a really good distro, and so this is take 3 of SolydK. Now, that being said, the issues with the previous video, I don't blame on the operating system. I blame it on the hardware that I recently got for Christmas. It has in it Beats audio. And for some reason, Linux just does not work proper with Beats audio. I have gotten my Gen 2 side to actually sound halfway decent, and maybe it too could have something to do with the microphone that's built into the system, and maybe it's not so much the audio as much as that, but it just sounds atrocious in Linux. It's horrible, and I'm getting really sick of it. I don't know what's worse. Dealing with this by the way, is my older system. This is HP DV8T that I'm recording on and running the OS, and the other system is a newer HP that I just recently got. I'm not going to go into that because this is about SolydK. Enough of the apologies. SolydK has been a really good distribution, and I was happy playing with it for the last week or so. So that's why I really wanted to do this extra video. So those who've watched all the other ones and know pretty much what I'm going to say can probably just go ahead and click off from here, but I would appreciate at least a comment or so if you think that this one at least gives it a little bit better sound quality and everything else. Now, first off, let me get rid of this simple screen recorder. By the way, it is one of the best screen recorders for screen capture that I have found that works pretty well in any distribution that I have tested. Now, let me start off with SolydK is a full-featured Debian-based distribution that you can get with either KDE or XFCE. The installation does take a little bit of time because since it is full-featured, there is a lot of software that it installs, downloads, and sets up for you. But it is well worth it. And I'll get into that in just a moment when we go through some of the applications and everything else. When you first start up SolydK, you're welcomed with this screen and the welcome screen, which brings you to a place to look for proprietary drivers, a place to go to the community and look for help, and a place to contribute. Now, I didn't say it in my last video, but I did say it in my first video that I ended up just mucking up and getting rid of. And that is, I always encourage you guys that when you find a distribution that you really like, that works well, and that you use on a regular basis, try to do something to support the developers and support the programmers out there. Linux is one of the greatest multicultural distribution facets that's just out there. And what I mean by that is people take of their time because of their passion for an open source software and operating system to build these distributions, the software that goes on them, and they aren't getting paid for it. They're doing this because they have this passion for it. And the best way that you can give back to them is either going to the contribution here and giving them a few dollars, $5, $10, anything that you can afford. Going sometimes if they have a store and buying some of their merchandise. As I've said numerous times, that I have, SUSE hats, Slackware T-shirts, you know, coffee cups that for Linux, all kinds of stuff that I purchased over the years. And every once in a while, I do try to give back if I can afford it, especially when I find a distro or a community that's really doing well and needs some support. That being said, that's all I have. I'm not paid to say that. I just want to say it. Oh, and the other thing is, as you will see today, as I'm re-recording this, it was Super Bowl. Now, at one time, I'm originally from Colorado, so I threw my Broncos colors on, my John Elway jersey. Although now that I live in Arizona, I normally root for the Cardinals. They didn't make it, so yeah, let's just put it this way. The Broncos didn't disappoint me. I'm used to disappointment through the many years of supporting them in the past. But, oh well. Congratulations, Seattle. Good job. Good game. So, moving on. So all the people who are seeing this and teasing me in the comments section about the Broncos losing, if you even follow American football, so be it. So as I said, you're introduced with that. We'll move on to some of the goodness that it has to offer. Now it comes, of course, with this type of menu. For simplicity, I switched to the classic menu style just so I can go over things a little bit easier for you. Yeah. Of course, recently installed GUVC, easily installed simple screen recorder. I did have to compile it from source. I always do that. There are some great hints and tricks if you search on the internet for simple screen recorder and go to the main site for it and the Git repository. There's some information about what packages you need to install and then how to get it compiled. Another thing about SolydK, though, in their games section, they don't have very much, but they do come pre-installed with Steam. Steam has been doing a lot to help the open source community and bring forth games that you can play on a Linux environment. In the last couple distributions they had it, and I also tested it out, and it worked very well. If you play Windows games and you sometimes want a wine style system that you should be able to play a Windows game in, play on Linux is very handy, although it's been a long time since I've even messed with that, but just wanted to bring that out to you. In the graphics section, I wanted to bring that, of course, they have the GIMP, but they also, what makes them kind of stand out from others is they have a few extra software packages like the Huggin, and I'm sorry if that's not Huggin but Eugen or something like that, but they have that. They have Panorama, a few others. Internet, of course, it comes with Firefox instead of Chromium. I kind of prefer Chromium, but this is what it's coming with. That's what I'm telling you about. The rest of it is kind of standard. Nothing too big to stand out there. And multimedia, of course, it comes with Amarok and the Amazon Downloader. Now, a little thing if you don't know about the Amazon Downloader, and if you're an Amazon user, they've got the Amazon Prime. They've got a lot of streaming that you can do through Amazon. And sometimes if you're a Linux user, you want to be able to take some of the albums that you have bought and download them into Linux. The Amazon Downloader allows you to set up, link your account, and be able to get those to seamlessly download and get onto your Linux box without so much hassle. Before the Amazon Downloader like this, you had to use a Windows partition to get your software to download proper. I don't even think that you could get it through the internet very well, especially in Linux. Or I guess you could download it through the Amazon MP3 player on your smartphone or device, and then of course you could copy it to a local server. But it is nice to be able to have the Amazon Downloader there. Of course, as I said, I installed GUVC Viewer, came with K3B, which is one of my favorite CD and DVD burning tools, and VLC. It does come with the full LibreOffice Office suite with everything you would need there. And then, of course, your standard settings, system utilities, etc. I do want to bring up this, and I did bring it up in my last videos too, and that is that inside here, it does come with a very nice backup utility called Lucky Backup and Sync Tool. I'll bring that up here, and I bring this because a lot of times you don't think about your backup, and you don't even look to see if they even have a backup solution, and sometimes it's difficult to find a good one. I have used Lucky Backup only a few times, but it has proven itself, and that's very important. And if you didn't watch one of my other videos about this, one thing that's really important when doing backups, and that is that you back up something small, simple, that's not that necessary in the beginning, and then make sure that you can restore it and use it. So many times I've backed up a system, never tested to make sure I had a good backup, and then when it came time to, oh, I need that data, it wasn't available anymore, and I'm face palming going, what have I done? You know, all that time that it took to back up all that gig, all those gigs of data, and it wasn't even any good because the restore didn't work properly. Well, this allows you to synchronize one drive or one folder to another folder, or it allows you to back up a folder or files into another and to set up routines and so forth. Very easy interface to look at, very simple to run. In fact, I just recently used it again when I found some really old hardware that we had that was about 10 years old, and would you believe it, when I booted it up to check it, it still had Gen 2 Linux installed, still working with 2.6 kernel and 3.5 version of KDE, and was running pretty well. But I wanted to make sure it was updated with the latest of everything, and of course I knew that if I did an emerge portage and all that sort of thing, it was going to blow it up. So of course I wiped it, put another version of Linux on there. I used Antix or Anti-X, or however you want to say that. It is running really nice right now. Even though I built that machine over 10 years ago as a desktop system, I was looking for something simple that I could create a Minecraft server on for the family household. And I used the Lucky Backup system to back up certain portions of the home drive so that I could restore it and place it somewhere else. And it worked well, just as a real-world solution to go with the Lucky Backup software there. And moving along, looking at a few things else, I think that's pretty much it when it comes to the menu system. As I said, SolydK does come in the XFCE version and KDE, and it has been quite solid for me. Everything has run well. It does come to you from the Netherlands, and I only mention that because it's great to see, as I said in the very beginning of this video, how there are great distributions, whether it's South America, North America, Europe, Asia. I have looked at so many distros from all over the world, some good, some not so good, but for the most part, it's just great to see a large community getting together and building something like this. SolydK is definitely solid. Now, I know another reviewer has stated that in the past he has tested SolydK to find it quite buggy, and there may still be some bugs that I missed within this one, but for the most part I find there's little idiosyncrasies in everything, and it just all matters on how much those things bother you. For the most part though, this has been a good solid distribution. Not to play on words so much there. And I would encourage you that if you're just looking for something to look at, this is another one that you could try out that's Debian based that seems to be pretty good. I do hope that this makes up a little bit for the last couple of videos. I'm going to leave the second take video up there so you can just see and compare the sound quality from my 4-year-old desktop versus this is the 4-year-old one that I'm on now, from the brand new one that I have. And I blame all those problems, like I said, on the hardware. It took me probably 2 or 3 weeks before I even got Gen 2 sorted so that I could have decent enough sound, and yet the microphone and the recording still sounds just rubbish. And maybe, as many of you suggested, maybe I need to look into getting a decent quality mic for doing these, and maybe that would make all the difference in the world. I'll have to find one that I could use or borrow just to see if it does work, because I don't want to spend a lot of money on a good quality mic. But for those of you who watch my videos who are also reviewers, let me know what you think about using external mics versus the internal mic. Granted, remember, I'm working off of laptops most of the time, not desktops. and I like to give a review for people who are wanting an alternate OS for a laptop environment. That's one of my main purposes. So if it's morning, evening, noon, or night, whatever you're watching, I hope you enjoy this. Thank you for letting me know when it's rubbish and let me know when it sounds good. I appreciate everybody's comments and I appreciate your views. Thank you for watching, and we'll talk to y'all later. Bye.